In order to use D-Star in terminal access mode, you must have at least two definitions set in the D-Star gateway system. The first is for your simple call sign, and the second is for your access point definition, which is usually your call sign plus an additional letter. In my case, I've chosen KC9WIB, my call sign, and O as my access point initial, and that gives me the two entries that I need to run the terminal access mode. In order to facilitate the terminal access mode, you need to do two things to your internal network, your Wi-Fi network. You need to issue a static IP address for the radio, the IC705, which you can see here. And the second thing you need to do is you need to forward port 40,000 to that particular IP address. So those two things are going to be different on each person's network, each person's router, but you're going to have to figure out how to do that. Static IP address for the radio and forward UDP port 40,000 to that IP address. On the radio, we need to connect up to Wi-Fi. So from the main screen, we hit Menu, Set, WLAN Set, turn Wi-Fi on, and let's take a look at connection settings. In this case, access point is the network. My network was already configured and the password was set, but you want to do that yourselves. So now you're connected to your own Wi-Fi network. You'll see that the IP address issued to the radio is specified here. In my case, it's 192.168.1.41. This matches the static IP address that was configured in the Wi-Fi router previously. Now you'll want to set up your internal gateway. Menu, DV Gateway, Internet Gateway Settings. In this case, I've picked the IP address 150.66.42.17. This corresponds to a Japanese-based reflector that I was using and that had some activity on it. Each reflector will have a separate IP address, and you have to look those up and match those to the reflector that you're connecting to. The terminal call sign, the terminal access point call sign, is what we set up and registered before with the D-Star Regist website. The rest of the stuff stays as is: gateway type global, UDP hole punch off, and this allowed call sign and allowed call sign list not necessary for this function. Finally, for the money, we are now going to connect to the reflector. Go into DV Gateway, click on Terminal Mode. You'll see I have this configured already to the reflector that I want to hit. It's /XLX016D, which corresponds to the IP address that I entered before. What you'll want to do to change this or to set this is to touch on the To field and then select the Direct Input menu item, and you'll type in the name of the reflector that you're using. And now, if we key up, we'll see that the message goes up to the reflector and goes down. It says you are KC9WIBG, and that means that we are connected. The reflectors, most of them have websites, and you can see who's connecting and when. So I can confirm that I connected up to this website. It's got my call sign and the time of the connection.